Hey traders, welcome to the Weekly Outlook. This is Chris Pulver here for the week of November 9th through the 12th. I'm actually doing this on November 10th. I just had a very busy day yesterday, was not able to get to the Weekly Outlook, so I wanted to make that up today. So big news this week is some promise made from Pfizer, also Eli Lilly, getting some advancements in their tests, antibody test, coronavirus vaccine with some increased effectiveness. Doesn't mean we have a vaccine. There's still a lot to go forward. But there's some promise. Now, the markets tend to do things like price things in, get a little bit more optimistic than it maybe should be, continue this kind of euphoric rise where it's not really reality. But we saw this happen on Monday's open. We had a huge day in the Dow. In fact, we were up like 7 or 8% in the DIA. We had a 1,300 point day or so on the Dow. But look at the price action. We're going to take a look at the charts here in a little bit. As of the close yesterday, the NASDAQ was flat. The S&P was up 2 2/3%. The Dow Jones was up 4.5%. Gold dropped a ton. The dollar got stronger. I was sitting on positions with Euro Swiss. Big move to the upside. Grabbed some partial profits, still letting it run. I'm also long on dollar Swiss. Grabbed some partial profits, letting it run. I also closed out a partial on my Aussie New Zealand. This morning closed out pound Aussie. So I have some really great currency pairs. I also bought puts on the SPY yesterday. Made some money. Bought some puts on the DIA. Made some money. So I'm doing some short-term trading. I'm accumulating some cash, which I'm happy with. We have a lot of stuff to watch. All right, so let's get into the charts. We understand that once we are, talking about trades and setups and opportunities, you understand there's risk in trading. Please and always trade with risk capital only. Trade capital only. Do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. This is me. I'm Chris Pulver on social media. You can follow me on YouTube. Make sure you take a moment, just quickly hit that like button for me. I really appreciate that. Follow me, click the notification bell so when videos like this go out, you are notified. This is my YouTube channel. Just look me up. You'll see a picture of me in a suit, and that's me. You can look me up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. But again, the main focus is growing the YouTube channel, doing some free education out there for everyone that is willing to follow and wanting to learn to be a better trader and investor. This is my video series that I keep adding stuff to, my Keep It Seriously Simple Best Trading Strategy video series. I'll be adding more to that, so keep an eye on that. Again, like the video, click the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and when these videos go live and hit my channel, you will see them. Okay, let's get into the charts. All right, so it is Tuesday the 10th as I'm doing this. A lot of volatility from yesterday's candle. This is the S&P E-mini futures. Look at that big rejection candle from yesterday. The S&P, or the SPY, look at this big gap higher, but closing lower. So I did take a little chance on that yesterday. I bought some in-the-money puts, and it did work out pretty nicely. I'm also short on Twitter. Booyah! Let me see how this Twitter option is doing. So I'm going to look at this right now. I totally forgot about that yesterday. My Twitter option, I bought some puts on Twitter, and I believe it should have been around $42. Let me see where I'm at here. So account, let me go to portfolio. Oh yes, I am up 58% on that position on my Twitter put, so that's good. So I shorted Twitter, I shorted the SPY, I shorted the DIA. That's working out pretty nicely. And let me go into that put right there. So I did a put at 42.50. It is currently up about 60%. So I'll take that, let it run. If I can get that put option up to, I might just take profit. I don't care. I'll take 60% gains on it. If it goes up to 100%, I'll take that too. But price is cooperating for me today. Some of these in-the-money puts or in-the-money calls, I'm looking for that quick directional push and just take some profits, keep accumulating that cash. So a couple of trades there working out pretty nicely. Let's go to the indices. Here's the Dow Jones. Again, crazy gap higher, 1,300 point some move on the day. Where are we at today? We are flat, but hanging on. Now, I think this. Okay, look, if we end up closing this gap over the next 24 to 48 hours, I think we have put in, again, not the top, but a top. Because what we dealt with last week was buying it off of support from September, and we had an election week that didn't really go with the uncertainty, didn't really go with the fact that it took 4 to 5 days to determine that Biden won the Electoral College with votes above 270 once Pennsylvania closed. There's still going to be recounts. There's lawsuits pending. Trump doesn't seem to be conceding yet, so that is creating some uncertainty in the market. So be ready for that to continue. But the markets also are kind of looking past that. If Biden is in fact president, what are they looking at? Well, we're looking at some type of reestablishment for the global reputation of the U.S. around the world. Instead of fighting with everybody, we're looking at potentially being, friendly. We're looking to be allies once again. We're looking to rejoin the Paris Accord, looking to have a big push towards green energy and sustainable resources. And that's a huge part of a green plan for companies around the world. Taxes up in the air, but one thing that might be considered with the Biden presidency is it could be called a lame duck presidency, which means you have a Democratic president, but you have split Congress. So very little policy change and agenda change can actually happen without a gridlock. So I don't know if that's the plan or if we're actually see some bipartisanship going on in the next 4 years. We don't know, but food for thought. So anyway, let's focus on the charts. We've got some great setups this week. I'm looking for the markets. If the Dow Jones is going to close this gap, I think that we're going to continue to see this move back down. Doesn't necessarily mean we're breaking major structure lows, but just go from a nice little fake out high. This actually was the first time that the Dow has tested the February highs. So I looked at that yesterday. That was why I actually shorted the DIA, because we have taken all year from coronavirus to our mid-March to April bottom all the way back up. We were failing at those highs, and then we had the spike up. So to me, that was a good opportunity to short it. I'm not interested in holding short. I'm not interested in calling the tops. I want to just make some money, and it paid out nicely yesterday. There's the DIA right there. So we gapped higher, pushing back down. If we close the gap, I'm looking to stay within the structure. If we look at the SPY, look at the structure. We close back in. Are we going to continue to push lower? Look at the VIX. Okay, so we had this big run up into the election, and then we just completely eroded. Now, look at the short-term support. We have lots of support here on the VIX. Could we go all the way back up towards $41 again and just see a lot more volatility? It's very possible. I'm still long on the VIXY. I closed up my call options for 125%. I'm actually filled at $15 on the VIXY. So this is actually up based on the ETF. I'm trying to get this thing to go higher. I want to see if this will go back up into, maybe $25 or more. If we can get on the right-hand side of this trend line, I do think there's room for this to go higher, especially if we do see some risk-off trading over the next couple of months. Like perhaps it's not November, December. Maybe it is. I don't know. But once we get through this structure, get on the right-hand side of this trend line, I would imagine that we're going to have some sustainably higher volatility in the stock market. If this goes into a more of a risk-off trade, then we'll see something, maybe not as deliberate as we saw back in March, but we'll certainly see some higher volatility that's a bit more sustained. So I'm watching the VIX closely. I'm currently long on the ETF VIXY. Okay, anything else? Let's talk about some currency pairs. Dollar index. Dollar index, we had some really solid support just kind of come out of nowhere. It's not officially in, like this is not necessarily the low. There's support right here on the dollar index. Does that mean we come back down to the same lows around 11868? If so, look for possibly a little bullish pattern off of there and see the dollar strength continue to be range bound, right? If we go a little bit lower, we could see the dollar come into support, maybe break and go a little bit lower, but over the next maybe 3 months to 6 months, I would imagine that the dollar is going to find some pretty heavy strength coming. And we could be looking at major support. We could have another consolidation pattern here and then have a longer move with range levels yet again on the dollar. So this might be forecasted the next 6 to 12 months. But right now, this week, what's the dollar going to do? I hope the dollar does this. Bull flag keeps going. Bull flag keeps going. Bull flag keeps going. I'd like to see the dollar get back to those equal highs. This pocket in inefficiency around 12,200. I'd love to see the dollar get back to that level. One currency pair that I am in is the dollar Swiss. I am long on the dollar Swiss. I had a really nice turnaround on the dollar Swiss. Let me get rid of this for a second here. So this guy there. I had a really nice turnaround on the dollar Swiss. And I'm still in profit. So I was buying here. I got filled at 8,995. That is up around 140 pips or so right now. I'm looking to see can we take out this high. Can we keep pushing? Can we keep pushing towards this pocket around 9,350? That to me has some good profit written all over it. And I'm going to stay the course and stay long on the dollar Swiss. I also like the euro Swiss. I did take some partial profits on this one. I had some positions in at 107.50. I had two positions in fact, and then I bought again at 107, and I had a pending buy down here that did not get filled, but I do have some partial profits that are running. I did take some profits off of this. What I want to see happen next is can we break this high? So right here, can we actually break? I'm going to use a straight line. Can we break these highs, which is around 108.40? If we break these highs around 108.40, here's what I'm looking for. If we break above, I want to see a daily candle closing above 108.40. From there, if it pulls back, pulls back, pulls back, pulls back, I'm looking for daily pivots. I'm looking for bullish confirmation. I'm looking at a trend system to run long, and I want to trade this back up towards 110. So I think once we get above 108.40, 108.50, we may see a pullback in here for more of a swing opportunity. But if we break above this, I'm looking for this breakout to continue to run towards 110. There is a yearly pivot at 1.1045. And so that's ultimately where I'm holding my positions. I have positions from way back here that I took some profit in, bought myself back in, have some partial profits running, take some partial profits here and there, add more to it. I'm still building this Euro Swiss position, targeting the 110 to 110.45 target overall. So that is going to be the Euro Swiss. What else do I have here? I'm trying to think. I've scaled out of quite a few positions. Aussie New Zealand's another one that I'm very fond of. I did take some partial profits. I bought this at 106.10. Actually, it was 106.20. Took profit around plus 100. I still have a trade in at 107. That's small. We have news this week. The RBNZ does have a rate decision. It's actually Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If they keep the rates the same, perhaps this allows the RBNZ to firm up, or the New Zealand dollar to firm up a little bit. If we start pulling back into these levels on the Aussie New Zealand, I'm actually going to be very happy, because this would be where I'm looking for buy levels for this thing to go back up to higher highs. Now, if we just get to 108.00, I'll be happy there. If we go up to 110 or higher, I will be thrilled, because I think longer term we can get to 112 and 114. So that's what I will be looking for. All right. Taking a look at some other currency pairs. We still have some range conditions on the Aussie Swiss right in here, actually. So looking for some range conditions from this high to low. We're still kind of structurally inside of all of that. So we had a bit of a fake out during the election. It's still range bound. Aussie yen. The yen's had this wild day yesterday. Watch the stock market, okay? Because here's why. If we have a break to the upside, I'll go down to a smaller time frame in a moment. If we had a break to the upside, we could still see this postured move create a bull flag, and we still go higher. I am not opposed to taking a bull flag and taking this Aussie yen back to the highs at 78.40. Okay. However, if we go down to a smaller time frame, look at what's happening. We had this really aggressive break to the upside. If price is going to stall right here, then it basically gives us a 50-50 setup. Now, like I said, the bull flag could be breaking to the upside. Bull flag goes higher. Fine. If the breakdown happens here, we have a pocket. We have a pocket through the election volatility. We could completely wipe away that move from Monday, and this is nothing more than a run back up to equal highs for the bears to fade this move back down. Now, this will yield a lot of volatility. I am very much short-term oriented on some of these yen pairs for current structure. So Aussie yen at current levels, it's kind of in the middle of the range, so be careful on this one. But if we look at this indecision, a break to the upside, look left and go after support. If we break to the downside, look left, there's a pocket, look left, there is more support over here. So for continuation on the Aussie yen, watch and see where price is willing to go next. New Zealand yen with the RBNZ rate decision. We took a look at this one today in my trading room. Look, I think this is a really good looking setup for this. We have resistance right there. Okay. Now within that resistance, in fact, it's easier if I just use a real line from the chart. So let me do this instead. Horizontal line there. Okay. Now that way I can zoom in. Look, do you see how ridiculous that move was from Monday? If we end up stalling here, the RBN news comes out today. If we see this break back down, then we fill the pocket and it is a fake breakout, or it's at resistance and we sell that resistance. Okay, if I'm going to take a break to the downside, I would have a stop loss here trying to get to break even or better very quickly. The flip side of that is if this is going to be a break to the upside, stop loss here, looking for price to go higher, moving into break even or better, and see if we can continue on with a bull flag type setup. So yen pairs can trend and yen pairs can be very aggressive. This might be the start of the trend. So as much as I see this as an inefficiency, I am not overlooking the fact that if this wants to go higher and stay higher, I need to go with that trade. Okay, but the opposite is right now the structure is we could be capping it right there and this could come right back down and fill. So based on the news tonight, I'll be watching this around 8 p.m. and see if we can get some decent levels to trade. If it breaks below, I'll take a chance, trade small, see if I can fill the pocket. If it breaks above, I'll take a chance, see if it wants to keep going. The RBNZ is not expected to change the rate. Sometimes that is interpreted as a bullish movement because recently the Reserve Bank of Australia actually just cut rates from 0.25 to 0.10. So is the market expecting to see the RBNZ be more dovish? Or if they keep the rates the same, maybe that's looked at as neutral to hawkish, which the market is possibly going to enjoy. Okay, so those are two good setups on yen pairs. The dollar yen is another one. Watch the dollar yen. Tons of volatility. We took some trades out of this last week. I had a robot that was deployed below 104. It took some profit for plus 40. I actually helped the robot take some profit and I turned it off after closing because after we had, volatility on Wednesday, follow through on Thursday, I had about 50 to 60 pips of movement in my favor. I went ahead and protected it, turned the robot off. I'm glad that I did because now we're back up above 104 and this has to make a decision. Is the dollar yen going to do something like this? Is the dollar yen going to make a bull flag or a pennant where it starts to break and go higher? We have major resistance back up to 106. We have major support at 104. So my thoughts are this. If the bulls can protect 104 on the dollar yen, then this is postured to continue to go higher. Now, there's a lot of resistance at 106, but if we clear 106, there's really not much stopping this until 109. So I think that right now I have to wait and see. Let's go down to a smaller time frame here. Let's go to the 1 hour chart. You can see that little pennant a little bit better. Watch. If we have connect the highs here, connect the lows there, watch and see what happens. Something like this, we can look at a breakout to the upside, stop area below, try to take this up. Again, 106. The goal here would be if we start to take a trade to the upside, getting the stop loss into break even or better and let this thing run. If it gets to 106 and blows through 106, you're going to be happy that you're in at break even and you don't have to deal with any noise around 106. Okay? If this is a trade that fails and it comes back down, there's still a line in the sand at 104. The bulls could still defend that. All right, we might spike down to find this little daily pivot right here. But if the bulls defend that, look for this to give us a bounce. So I'm looking for entries to buy it either on a breakout or at support, trying to get to 10600 or higher. If we get in, try to get to break even or better before it hits 106, and then we're looking to see if it blows right through it. So a couple of yen pairs that I really like. I'm watching structure on the dollar yen, the Aussie yen, and the New Zealand yen. Anything else that I really like? We took some trades. I know traders of mine took trades on the dollar CAD and did a great job last week. That breakout below 3,100 took it all the way down to 3,000. Excellent trade there. I'm looking for pound dollar. This could be a trade I'm watching for the next few days. Okay, pound dollar. So we have this really great structure right here. Tons of resistance around 3,400. And based on this little slide, I'm looking at this area as a correction. So even though we're slightly higher around 32.50, this could be a great spot to start looking for selling on the pound dollar. But if I was going to pick a spot, I would love to see it come back up and test the high. If there's any way that we can stay in this corrective move right here, and then maybe we have a bigger pattern setting up at 34 and we can sell it from there. If it's not as kind of wavy, perhaps we just kind of stay here and keep pushing to the upside, hit 3,400 and then fall really aggressively later on. So my plan on pound dollar is just to wait for right now, see if we get back up towards 3,400, 3,450, look for opportunities to short that currency pair. Okay, and again, that's because the stop loss area would be very tight and we can go after some pretty decent range profits around 2,700 or lower. So I do like that setup quite a bit. Anything else that stands out? I'm currently short on the euro dollar. That is up around 40 pips right now. I took some profit on euro Swiss. I took a great trade on the pound Aussie and closed that one up for about 200 pips of profit. That one is done. Anything else that stands out? I'm looking to short and stay short the Swiss yen. That's about it. So trades for this week for the outlook. I'm watching the yen pairs closely based on Monday's price action. I'm still sticking to my guns on Aussie New Zealand and Euro Swiss and Dollar Swiss. And this week, let's take a look at the calendar really quickly. So the news for this week, RBNZ today, we have a Euro holiday, bank holiday. This is Veterans Day actually on Wednesday the 11th. So that is a bank holiday on Wednesday. Thursday, we come back at it with Bank of England's speech, unemployment claims and CPI for the U.S., Euro, let's see, Lagarde speaks, Bank of England, Fed chair speaks. What's going on there at 11:45? They all at the same place? This is panel discussion about monetary policy, ECB forum. and ECB forum. Okay, so everyone's in the ECB forum this week. And then Friday, additional PPI news. So we had CPI on Thursday, PPI on Friday, and Bank of England Bailey Speaks. Okay. So, I mean, really the high impact news for the week is Tuesday's RBNZ. Everything else is kind of priced in. Watch the stock market day to day. Look and see if those indices close the gaps. Okay, does the SPY close the gap? Does the S&P 500 close the gap? Does the Dow Jones close the gap? Okay, watch those levels carefully. If we're closing the gap, that could be this near-term top we're putting in. Look for volatility to start going higher. Okay, there was a big sell-off last week in volatility, which is what allowed the stock market to rally, but we could come right back down to these equal lows, bounce there, see higher volatility, and if we see the VIX going higher, that means that our indices will be continuing to drop. Okay, all right, traders, that's going to do it. Again, please, please, please smash that like button and, pass this video along. Free education out there on my YouTube channel. If you have any questions, let me know. Leave me a comment in the comment section on this video. I have educational material. If you look at the notes for this description, all my descriptions, I have notes for continued education, for video series on price patterns, all sorts of good stuff there. So check that out. Anything else? I don't think so. Have a great week. Sorry I got the video out to you late. And happy trading. All right, we'll talk to you all soon. See you in my trading room. Over and out. See ya.